Hello everyone and welcome to another Star Wars review. Today we're going to take a look at a vehicle from the vintage collection. This is a vehicle that I've been really excited about getting my hands on because personally I've never owned one. So this is a first time thing for me. Personally I couldn't think of a better version of this vehicle to own first than this one. And the vehicle itself that I'm reviewing today is this, the vintage collection Landspeeder. Now this is of course currently available exclusively at Target stores in America. Not entirely sure about its availability in Canada, but here in the UK you can pick it up on eBay obviously and at various online retailers, the cheapest of which I've seen it is at staractionfigures.co.uk, who are currently selling this one for £19.96, which is a great price. Highly recommended. They have, incredibly fast delivery, great service and an overall great shop to buy from. So if you're on the hunt for a Landspeeder in the UK, staractionfigures.co.uk is the place to go. So we'll take a look at the vehicle in more detail later on in the review, but first up we are going to take a look at the packaging that this one comes in. Now once again, not only was I really excited about getting the vehicle, but I was also really excited about seeing the packaging that it came in, and that's because it comes in the very retro looking vintage box. Obviously this box is a little bit smaller than your usual vehicle box, mainly because obviously the vehicle inside it is a lot smaller, but the main sort of design of the vintage box is still there. You've got the image on the front which has been recreated using modern figures from the 1978 image that was used on the original box. You've got the Star Wars logo and banner going around the edge, the Landspeeder name tab and the Kenner logo down in the bottom corner. On the sides and tops and bottoms of the box you have various panels and images that indicate all the action features that this vehicle has. We'll talk about those later on in the review. I think it's really cool that they even got the little kid to dress up like a retro 1970s kid just to make that image even more realistic. It's pretty cool. There's another one. And then on the bottom you've just got a movie still from the movie. And then on the back of the box we have the exact same image, only with the vintage collection logo up in the corner. So there's the packaging for the Landspeeder. Once again, very very cool, and probably the only packaging that I do actually keep, because I love the vintage design. Now onto the vehicle. As I said, this is probably the best Landspeeder that's been released. From what I gather, it's just a repaint of the Saga 2004, I believe, Landspeeder. So there's not much different about it in terms of features and things that it does. From my point of view, really, this is more of a aesthetic vehicle rather than a playable vehicle, because there isn't really that many features with it, but the look of the overall thing actually makes up for all of that. As I said, from what I gather, it is a repaint. But what Hasbro have done with this one is giving it a much darker orangey brown sort of decor, once again to pay homage to the original 1978 vintage Landspeeder, which I think is very very cool, and personally I prefer it to the more washed out colours we've seen on past Landspeeders. There's a ton of weathering on this one, so as you can see down the front you've got various paint scuffs and weathering, and even a little dint there at the front. Got various exposed panels on the front of the hood there, right at the back, and also on the engine at the back, which is the coolest one in my opinion. So a ton of detail in there. In terms of features, as I said, there aren't that many with this vehicle. It's a Landspeeder really, so there's no firing missiles or anything like that. First feature is at the side of the windshield just there is a small clip which allows you to attach a rifle, which is included. Unfortunately there's no figures included with this vehicle, but you do get the weapon, which I guess is a small bonus. Don't know how well you're seeing that. Let's get the camera to focus in. It's a nicely sculpted rifle, bit flimsy, but pretty cool nonetheless. I mean, I'm not going to be displaying this one with my figures, I'm just going to have it attached to the side of the vehicle like that, so it's not a big deal. And obviously, as you see there, you can indeed fit a figure in the cockpit area. And at the side of that figure, just there, is a gear shift, and if you push this forward like that. It springs into place, and this reveals transparent wheels on the bottom of the vehicle, which allow it to sort of simulate the floating effect that you get in the film. Now, not only does it roll on smooth surfaces, but you've also got sort of this bounce. Don't know how well that shows, but you've got a bounce to the wheels. So as it's floating along, you know, it sort of bounces up and down. Bit of suspension, I guess you could call it, and that simulates and makes the floating effect a little bit more realistic, or as realistic as you can get with a plastic toy anyway. And in terms of features, that's about it. As I said, there's not a ton of features with this vehicle. There's no firing missiles or anything like that, but it's a great looking vehicle, and if you're an original trilogy fan or a first generation fan who collected all the vintage stuff, you're going to absolutely love this, because the deco of it is a really nice tribute to the original. And if you're a diorama builder as well, you know, if you've got a Tatooine diorama that you've just built up, then this is going to make a fantastic addition to that, because it's a Landspeeder, and Landspeeders are awesome. So also inside the cockpit, if I just remove the figure, there's not a ton of detail in there. You've got the steering wheel, the gear shift, and a couple of screens which in my opinion should have stickers on them, but they're just left unpainted and just black, so they look a little bit plain. But again, you're not really looking at stuff like that. You're looking at the overall look of the vehicle, and I think the fact that this thing is 100% weathered is just fantastic. Unfortunately, the hood isn't removable like it was on the Power of the Force, I believe it was, Landspeeder. So that's gets a few points knocked off for that, but otherwise this is a great vehicle and one that I definitely recommend. Really love this thing, and again, that exposed engine at the back there, really cool. So there we go. That is the Vintage Collection Landspeeder, again currently available exclusively to Target in the US and over here in the UK at various online retailers. Again, the best place that I could recommend picking this up is staractionfigures.co.uk. So if you want one of these, go get it. Damn cool vehicle. So there we go, that's the Vintage Collection Landspeeder. Hope you enjoyed this review, and I'm going to be back with some Clone Wars vehicle reviews next. So stay tuned for all of those and many more. And until next time, as always, keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.